Hi, welcome to my class, Dressing a Regency Lady. In this class, we are briefly gonna talk about where the most popular fabric of the Regency era came from, which is muslin, and how it incorporated into the silk roots. And then we're gonna go on to do a get ready with me, two of them actually, with a daytime look and the explanations between a daytime look and a nighttime look for a dinner or a ball, let's say. So I hope you enjoy this class. Thank you for joining. The Silk Road was originally established by the Han Dynasty when they opened up trade routes with the East in 130 BC. These routes or roads lasted well until the 1400s for trade and commerce and things like that. The east-west trade routes that opened started in Greece, went to China, and that was during the times of the 1st and 2nd centuries BC. So in this class, we are briefly going to talk about muslin, which was a very popular fabric, and it was traded during the Silk Routes, and there's a lot of mystery behind it. It was originally said to be created in modern day Iran, but actually it turns out that it was created in India. So muslin became popular because of its lightweight, the weaving of the fabric, and the fact that it was great in hot, humid areas, which, especially in India, where it is hot and humid, this will make sense to wear. Muslin itself comes from a cotton plant that was originally grown from the Brahmaputra River in India. The fabric was so smooth and lightweight that it became very popular amongst the royals and the high class in the 16th and 17th centuries, but didn't really see a huge growth until you got to the Regency era. And that's because muslin itself was used to keep people cooler in warmer weathers. So those hot, humid days in England and Paris, muslin was perfect for it because it was thin, it was lightweight, it felt almost silky to the touch, and that's what people wanted. So even though those that were involved in the trade of muslin, they made a really pretty penny, and it was very lucrative business, muslin was replaced by man-made fabric come the 19th century. One interesting thing that you may or may not have heard about muslin fabric is called muslin sickness. Basically what it was because muslin was so popular, especially in high society England, that women were wearing it, especially in the winter when it was very cold and very wet, and they would get sick and die of pneumonia. And a lot of people attributed that to the fact that they were wearing muslin. And because they were wearing muslin and because it was so thin, it did not provide any weather protection whatsoever. But basically, it was sort of an old wives' tale or mythical lore. It was said that women would douse themselves in water to get the muslin to cling to their skin and be extra appealing. And then when they went out, it would just look so amazing, even though they said that these girls were dying from muslin sickness. So muslin itself, as the fabric, it was made into morning dresses, it was made into promenade dresses, as well as evening dresses for ball gowns and things like that. So the next part of this video, we are going to show you a couple of different fashion plates of women dressed in Regency fashion, everything from morning time until a fancy dinner or a ball. After that, I'm going to do a get ready with me in which I will both dress for a morning or daytime outing and then switch into an evening or ball gown dress. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is morning gowns. Morning gowns don't denote a time of day specifically, but are more in the sense that these were less informal gowns that were worn when a lady was doing things such as chores around the house, writing letters, having tea, being around her family. They were typically made out of the muslin fabric that was so popular, had longer sleeves and higher necklines. Now here we are getting ready for the day. As you see, I have my shift and I have my stays on, and now we're going to get into the next layer of the outfit. So typically I will have stockings on right now, and I add the shoes because shoes go on before anything else. It's important. Here we have my muslin morning dress. It has 3/4 sleeves. It also has a fairly low neckline and is made to just be thrown over the head. Typically, morning dresses did not have any back closures. They were meant to just put right on and pull it over your head. This dress also had a drawstring feature at the bodice line to pull in the fabric and give it that high-waisted Regency look. Now, even though morning dresses were considered to be informal and worn only about the house, you could definitely change up your morning dress to wear outdoors if you were going for a walk or a promenade, simply by adding extra layers, such as a shawl. And during the Regency times, shawls were fairly long. They were meant to cover you as well as give you a different layer. You can also add short crop Spencer jackets to the morning gown so that you could give it a different look. Of course, gloves were essential. If you were going out, a lady would definitely have some sort of head covering, such as a bonnet on. And as you see here, they are wearing crop Spencer jackets along with white morning gowns. Now again, morning gowns were made out of muslin. They were very lightweight. And definitely depending on the time of the year is what you determine to wear with your morning gown, whether it be a wool or a silk shawl or a Spencer jacket. The choice was entirely up to you. Now, while a lady was in her home in her morning dress, typically to fill in the low neckline, a chemisette would be worn, which is a historical version of a dicky, or a fichu, which is a large handkerchief. Typically, these are made either out of the same fabric as in muslin, sometimes silk, but definitely lighter fabrics tied around the shoulders and tucked into the stays to give the neckline some coverage. And now we're going to discuss full dresses or evening gowns. During the Regency era, these two terms, full dresses and Regency gowns, were used interchangeably to discuss the same thing. But basically, it was the fancy dress that you will wear to dinner or, let's say, a ball. And now we're going to get ready for a full dress evening gown look. So as before, we are in our stays, our shift, and our strap petticoat. Strap petticoats were great because they reduced the bulk along the top of the body while still giving you the protection of a petticoat. Following this, we're going to walk in and I'm going to show you the shoes. Typically, it was ballet slippers or slippers in general that were worn to fancy dress parties, dinner parties, and balls. And here is the pink satin gown that will be worn to a ball or to a dinner party. And as you can see, it has chiffon flower embellishments along the bottom. As we got into more of the Regency period, longer back trains and decorative ruffles and trim along the bottom of gowns was quite common. It was definitely a way to spruce up your gown and even add it to the latest fashions that one would see in fashion plates. Now we're going to take a look at some full evening dresses and gowns to see the difference in between morning and day dress. As you can see, white was still a very popular color because that was what muslin came in, but muslin was definitely dyeable. It was very easily susceptible to dyes, and there was a lot of color during the Regency period. White was commonly a color for those who just came out in society, but it was still worn by women who were married or who held titles. As you can see, as far as headwear, typically curls were up, surrounded by a turban or a strip of fabric, and usually with large plumes of feathers in the hair. Now, with evening dresses or full dresses, there were many ways to adorn it, with sheer coverage, open gowns, open robes, especially making gowns out of different silks and different colors. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the class, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you, Costumes of Color and the Silk Roots Symposium 2023.